Hi all, now we will see induction motor protection. So there are many different types of induction motors, single phase, three phase. In this chapter we will mainly see three phase induction motor, either of squirrel cage or wound rotor type. Small motors of around voltage 415 and of few tens of HP rated are not seen in this chapter because they are generally provided with the protection of fuse. Large three-phase motors ranging from 100 HP to 5000 HP is being discussed here, and its voltage rating is medium voltage range from 3.3 kilovolt to 6.6 kilovolt. And since they are widely used in industries like chemical, petrochemical, fertilizers, so these motors have to be protected. And in our elementary courses we have already learnt the principle of operation of induction motor, construction, equivalent circuit, losses and torque equation of three phase induction motor. We will see directly the protection part of it. Now there is a equation governing the starting current of an induction motor, that is given by I2 equal to S into E2 by root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square. R2 and X2 are resistance and reactance of an rotor of the induction motor. Now why this equation is necessary, we'll try to understand it. Now what is slip relating to current, we will see. So during the starting of an induction motor the slip will be too high, correct? During initially before it starts to rotate, the rotor speed will be 0, hence the what you call it as stator, I will call it as stator flux, and there is a rotor here, okay, they will be not aligned, means rotor will be somewhere here at this position, okay, and once it starts to rotate, so slip will be high. If slip is high, then current will be high. If current is high, then it draws, it means what? It draws more current. If current I2 is high, it means I1 will also be high. So but during running condition, once it starts and attain the rated speed, what happens is it attains the rated current, is because slip will be less than, if slip is less, then by this equation you can see that it is I2 is drawing, that is motor is drawing less current, so rotor current is less and stator current is also less. Now to attain from initial condition to rated speed, it takes around 5 to 6 seconds. So during it may go as high as 20 to 30 seconds, and to attain rated speed during this time, it will draw around 4 to 10 times the rated current, which is very high. It is because slip is high. So what are the effects due to this on an induction motor, and how to protect against these, we will see now. So this is an equivalent circuit of induction motor, which is also similar to the transformer. We know that principle of operation and equivalent circuit is same for induction motor as well as transformer. So nothing much to be explained now regarding this circuit. Only thing what we need to notice is the slip with relation to I2. So since slip is varying, this knob is varying, it is shown that it is an equivalent circuit, so it is a representation of it. So if slip is varying, I2 current is varying. It means what? So if slip is varying, then I2 will also vary. So this is what it is meant to be shown here, and you can see that the rotor voltage is S times E2. So I2 is proportional to this as well as this. So that is what the equation what we saw now. Now this graph is current versus time, or time versus current, shown here. So what we will do is we will draw the same graph interchanging the x and y coordinates. In y coordinates we have time here, so in x coordinate we will plot it. In x coordinate we have current here, so in y coordinate we will plot current. So if I draw this, it will look something like this. The same curve I have redrawn, only for better understanding, for easy understanding I have done this. So during initial, the motor will be standstill, that is, it is not rotating. So at that time it will draw current somewhere between 6 amperes, and once it attains, after some time, maybe 5 to 6 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds, what you can see here, it draws very less current, that is almost a rated current. So this is 1 per unit, that is rated current. So this is the meaning of this graph. What we had just analyzed in the previous slide is being explained through graph here. So the same thing is explained here. Now we'll see what are the effects of starting current. What will happen? Now we'll see what is the effect of starting current. What will happen if the starting current is too high? If so, then it will harm the voltage. So voltage will dip. See, generally loads will be connected to different customers. So once a particular customer who is having a large induction motor, if he draws a very high current during starting, then voltage dip happens. Then the other customers cannot start their motors because of voltage drop. So this is an inconvenience to the other customers. So for squirrel cage induction motor, there are different starters: star, delta, auto transformer. Star delta means, so during starting, connection will be star, so in star voltage will be less. So if voltage is less, current drawn is less, and during running condition it will be converted to delta. So in delta voltage is more, it is 400 voltage, it is 230 voltage here. So since it is during running delta, so we have high voltage, then it draws high current. So to limit the starting current, initially low voltage is given, that is star connection, and during running condition high voltage is given so that it can draw the rated current, because those are rated for 415. I have just given an example of single phase. In low rating, it holds good for the higher rating machine also. Now let us see the faults in induction motor. There are stator faults and rotor faults. So what are those? Mainly is nothing but short circuit. Short circuit may happen in stator as well as rotor, and there are some abnormalities. Of an induction motor. We'll see one by one. That is, first is overloading. What will happen to the motor if it is overloaded? Means more than its rated. If you load it, what will happen? Then single phasing, then unbalanced current, reversed phase sequence, under voltage, and stalling. So we'll see these one by one. Now first we'll see overloading. So this material is been provided to you, so you can go through it, or you can pause this video and read this once. But since there is no space to write here, I'll be writing the summary of this overloading effect of induction motor in the space which is provided in next slide. So I'll be writing it here. I'll be summarizing. So what is overloading? Suppose there is a stator and there is a rotor, and at rated speed they are aligned. Now for this rotor, this is a shaft. Okay, so this is a shaft. Now if your mechanical load is here, so if there is a mechanical load and if you start to increase the load, then there will be a lag between stator that is air gap flux and rotor, that is nothing but slip. Okay, now what will happen if you increase the load? So I am explaining it for overloading. Okay, now if you increase the load, obviously speed will decrease. It means what? Slip is increasing. If slip is increasing, rotor current will increase, and in turn stator current will also increase. So this is the phenomena what is happening. Now what happens if I1 increases? I1 R1 is the resistance of stator into T. So this is what I square R is the heat loss. So there is a huge loss. See, current I1 current is increasing, and because it is associated with square nature, you can imagine how much heat will be produced for a change in I1. So for 1 ampere change, there will be a proportionate heat. For 2 amperes change, there will be 4 times heat produced. That is the meaning of the square nature, quadratic nature. Now what is, we understood what is I square R, but what is T? This is the amount of time for which that overloaded current is being passed. See, during normal condition there is no problem. When you overload means above the rated allowable load, if you apply more load, then it draws more extra current. That extra current will produce square times the heat. So the amount of heat generated has to be dissipated, correct? So dissipation will also increase proportionally. It depends on the type of cooling system, whether it is natural cooling or oil cooling or forced air cooling. Okay, so this explanation holds good for stator as well as rotor. See, rotor current increases, stator current also increases. It works on the principle of transformer. So secondary current increases means primary current also increases. So here what happens to this heat? We will see. During normal operating condition, heat will be there, but it is below the allowable thermal rating. So it is below the allowable thermal rating, so there is no problem. Now there is a certain temperature at which the heat generated is same as heat dissipation, heat dissipated. So that temperature is called as state of equilibrium. So we know that. So if the heat generation is more, then the problem is with insulation. So a insulator has an temperature withstanding capability. Beyond certain temperature it breaks down. You can call it as avalanche breakdown or thermal breakdown. Below that current or below that heat or temperature, you will have to pass the current. Now we'll try to understand this graph. This graph is current versus time. So during the normal operating condition, that is rated current, if it is running at a rated current, the temperature will take more time to rise. But if it is drawing high current during running, if it draws high current, then within no time it will get heated up. Now we understood this graph, hot graph, that is during running condition. What is cold graph? We will see. The cold graph is for if the system is during standstill, that is if it is not running. So before starting the system, the temperature of motor will be very less. So even in that case, if it draws starting current very high, then it will take a bit more time to be heated up. Compared to earlier case, it takes a bit more time. Okay, so this is the difference between cold curve and hot curve. hot curve is for the machine which is already in running condition. If it is already in running condition, it is hot curve. If it is starting from initial condition, then means if the motor is at standstill, if it is not on prior, then we get this cold curve. Now we have torque slip curve, so that we will understand it now. Now we will understand torque slip curve. So there is a certain slip that is here, A dash. This A dash is somewhere between 0.1 to 0.2, for example 0.13 or 0.12, below which the motor will be in a stable region. And if slip increases, see, when does slip increases? When you go on increasing the load. If you are increasing the load, then slip will go on increasing. If slip goes on increasing, then you are in the verge of instability. So here at 0.8 slip, the motor will get halt. It does not rotate. So this is an unstable region. So this is an unstable region and this is an stable region. So for a system to be for a motor to be operating in a stable region, we must operate with the slip 0 to 0.1. Thank you.